Madam Speaker, a worrying development is this plan we've been hearing a bit about to develop a for-profit prison in Jamaica and to use taxpayers' money to facilitate it. Very little has been disclosed to the public about this plan, other than the government announcing that they've identified 300 acres of land in St. Catherine for a new purpose-built correctional facility via a public-private partnership. And from this public-private partnership, necessarily there has to be a return on investment for the private investors. That's why I say for profit, Prime Minister. In the US, they call this approach.
What point of information, Madam Speaker? The member speaking to, I've been interrupting you, please, but there is no plan or any articulation of any prison for profit, right, to be built, right? With what you have implied, absolutely none. It's misleading the House. You're misleading the House. It's not been said even in jest.
Madam Speaker, I made the point that what we heard is going to happen is there's going to be a public-private partnership to build a new maximum security prison. And I went on to say that from you have a public-private partnership, necessarily the private investors are going to require a return on their investment, which is the profit of which I'm speaking. That's what I said. And
all right.
Madam Speaker, in the US, well, when you can clarify, but this is what various.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, and I do loathe doing this in the presentation of the Leader of the Opposition, but I believe that the point that the Leader of the Opposition raised to suggest that the government is going to build a prison for profit, which are the words he uttered, is dangerous and misleading and ought to be corrected immediately. The government has never contemplated that. It has never been thought of. It is in no policy of the government. And for the Leader of the Opposition to say that without evidence, without quoting a document, it is dangerous and misleading and has to be dealt with immediately. And I urge the Leader of the Opposition, as I know he is gentleman enough, to withdraw that statement.
Madam Speaker, what we have been told is that this prison is going to be built as a public-private partnership. That's what we've been told. We have never had, the Minister of State, it has been reported and in the media. A public-private partnership. That has been stated publicly by the Minister of State who has responsibility for prisons. My point is, if it's a public-private partnership, that suggests that the private partner is going to be looking to make a return on it. That is why I said what I said. And Madam Speaker, more information and more transparency around what is intended would be welcome, because the way in which it has been brought across so far raises concerns. It's as simple as that. I will move on, Madam Speaker.
You won't just move on. A point of order has been made. If indeed the impression is that the government is building what were your exact words? Probably I should get that from Hanshat, because if you have said it is for profit, then it is wrong, and it is a wrong signal to send. So, Ms. Curtis, can I have what was said from Hanshat?
Thank you. Madam Speaker, this is the report that this was on December 8, 2022.
I want to know what was said.
The government has given its clearest indication.
Remember, yes. I am speaking. I said a point of order was raised.
Yes.
As the Speaker, I must rule whether or not. And to do so, I need to hear from Hanshat what was said. Hansard.
Madam Speaker, I am prepared to clarify. When I said for profit. I was referring to the private-public partnership that the government has given a clear indication that it is proceeding with, or at least considering a private-public partnership to build a state-of-the-art prison. And a private-public partnership necessarily involves the private element in that partnership earning a return on their investment. That is what I was saying. And I've said as well that if that is not the case...
Member,
yeah.
I am saying this afternoon that I'm waiting on what Hansard has said. A point of order. A point of order has been raised.
The Prime Minister asked me to withdraw the comment about for-profit. I will withdraw it.
Well, if you withdraw it,
because it is ridiculous. It would be ridiculous to hold up these proceedings while you go and refer to Hansard as to what I said.